the people of sake actually brought me into sake.
Back in 1988, this place was actually in Ginza on the main drag.
At first it was kind of soy sauce, it was miso.
To the point where it actually changed my life.
New Year's Day 1989.
Not just sake as a beverage, but all the culture and history.
So welcome back and thanks for tuning in to another episode of Sake on Air, which is the first podcast dedicated to expanding the dialogue surrounding Japan's iconic beverages, sake, shochu, and awamori in the world. The show is made possible with the support of the Japan Sake and Shochu Makers Association. My name is Sébastien Lemoine, one of your regular hosts, and today I am joined by actually three hosts with our guest. John, it's great to have you on the mic.
Thanks, Sebastian. It's been a while since I've been able to appear, but I'm very thrilled to be here. It's going to be an interesting conversation.
And Chris is with us today as well.
Hello. Always an honor to be on with John. I'm looking forward to this.
And last but not least, from Export Japan, Frank.
Hello.
Now it's time to introduce our guest, and I'm very pleased to have Jacky with us today, because Jacky, because of his very unusual profile, will enable us to combine a couple of things in a single episode. Because we're going to talk about brewing sake and the life of brewer, but we're going to be talking about Shizuoka as well as a region, and share a bit of the attraction of Shizuoka as a destination, because Jacky happens to work in tourism as well. Good morning, Jacky.
Hello, Sebastian. Hello, everyone, and happy to talk to you and everyone about Shizuoka and sake.
So I guess my first question is pretty simple. Would you kindly introduce yourself, tell us a little bit about what brought you to Japan, and why did you settle in Shizuoka?
Yes, so it will take some time to talk about this because, as you said, I have kind of unusual, like my story. So first time I came in Japan, it was in 2012, and I came in Japan for my master degree internship. And my master degree was about library science. So I went to Tokyo in Nichifusukaikan, which means Maison Franco-Japonaise de Tokyo. I am French. Sorry, I didn't say, like, I think I forgot to say it. I am French. Maybe you can hear about this. And it is basically a research center about social science and about Japan. It is really like important for French people. Like there is a École Française d'Extrême-Orient, which is really big research center also. But this Maison Franco-Japonaise de Tokyo is really focused on Japan science by French people. It was made by Paul Claudel, which was in Shibusawa Eiichi. And it was made around like beginning of the 20th century, I think. So I start my internship there and for a few months only. And why I choose Japan, it is because I didn't have so much interest in Japan like lots of other people. From my age, I am 38. Lots of people coming in Japan for first time, they have interest in manga, animation, and this kind of topic. Me, I just came there because I thought Japan is an island and it has an interesting culture, and I just wanted to know, to see. It looks funny and to go there and learn about Japan. And I went there for the first time and I did this internship. And then, like it happened lots of time in life, I met my wife. The woman who will become my wife a few years later, 2 years later. And it's how it started. So it was in 2012. After I was working in India for 2 years. And I came back in Japan in 2014 to live in Japan. At least to try to live in Japan. Get a job and starting my life in Japan. At that time, I didn't speak Japanese at all. So that was pretty hard, like you can imagine, of course. And this is the beginning. You have any question about this, or I can continue to explain how
No, continue.
I came to Shizuoka if you want.
Keep going. Yeah.
So, like I said, like I was, my background was library science, museum science, and I have a specialization in old and rare books. So nothing to see with Nihonshu, with sake, nothing connected to tourism. I just use all my savings to find a job and to live in Japan. I couldn't find any job. So the months were passing, and I was losing all my saving step by step. I used to live in Tokyo that time. And I found a job in, I think it was end of September, but I'm not sure about this. And it was a job as guide. One company like hire me as guide. That time the tourism was just starting, and French people especially just start to come to Japan and more and more. And the salary was pretty bad. It was like that time 8,000 yen for one day. So you can
Wow.
imagine like it's in euro about 40 euro, 45, 50 euro for one day. And I had to pay my cost also, like transportation cost and everything. So after one day of work, you cannot make a living in Tokyo with this salary, right? So I thought, okay, it's enough. I will make my website and try to get my customer and get all the money for me. And that was the starting point of my company in tourism. And it started from there. And I made this company. And years after year, I got new partner, travel agency partner, and getting more and more job. And now I am hiring lots of freelance guide and French people living in Japan. Most of my customers are French speaking, but I also work in English. And yeah, basically, yeah. My job is doing what travel agency want to do.
You are a land operator, is that right?
Land operator, yeah. So which means I cannot sell directly to customer, but I can go through travel agency and travel agency book what I'm making for customers.
And what about Shizuoka then?
So what about Shizuoka? So I start to sell service in Tokyo and Osaka, Kansai, and in 2016 I thought it was time to go to countryside. I am from Bourgogne in France, Burgundy, and I used to live in countryside, and I always wanted to go back to countryside in my life. Yeah, in Japan or other country, but turns out I'm living in Japan, and we exchange with my wife and what we can do, and we choose to go to Shizuoka to live in the countryside, and because my wife is from Shizuoka, and we had some how we say in Japanese her Jimoto, like how we say in English, I don't know, Jimoto.
Place of
Uh,
origin?
Place of origin is yeah, Yaizu City actually in Shizuoka
Guys.
Prefecture,
Mhm.
and we choose to not stop the company, but finally after 2 years, I was having lots of job in Tokyo as guide, and I just gamble all, say okay, no, it's time to go to Shizuoka, and all the work I was having in Tokyo. Yeah, I will get less income because I cannot guide myself, which means I have to ask other guide to guide for me, and I will get less income, of course. So, but I choose to gamble just for living countryside. And why I wanted to live in countryside, it was really simple. Also, because I like countryside, but I wanted to have a family, and I wanted this family to grow up in countryside. That's really simple. And now we got 3 children and really cute kids. So yeah, I'm happy for that, and that part we are successful for family side. And
Well,
company, the company grew up also, and now, yeah, we have lots of work, and
well, you
yeah,
very kindly invited me to come to go and see your house. I mean, it is not any countryside. You are living in a
yeah,
very small shuraku, a very small village in the mountain. I mean, I don't know how many people live there, but it's only a very limited number of houses. And
yes,
you chose to buy and renovate an Akia and made your life there into it's not easy to find as a place. Although there seems to be a lot of visitors because Japanese people love hiking and you are on a good hiking route. And
yes.
I was very curious to see how life would be there because I'm sure it comes with some constraints. I mean, can you tell us about that a little?
Yeah, there is a lot of constraints, like you said. Like, okay, so when we start thinking with my wife to move to countryside, it was a coincidence. This Akia, this old Japanese house owner, decided to sell it. My wife, she knew about this because her mother still live in Yaizu, And by humor, like she heard like this house was opening and for sale, and better it was time to try to get it actually. And we just went there and say we have interest in this house, and we got it. You know, in this village, the village name is Hanazawa no Sato, and there is only 80, around 80 people living there. It's hard to remember how many people because the average age is around 80, 70, 80. So every year, lots of people are leaving us, you know, and it's phenomenal. In Japan, there is lots of countryside who are losing their population, right? And I think that time, the fact I was a foreigner was an advantage. Like people there will think like in this kind of village with old custom and tradition, as foreigner it will be hard to be accepted. But I think that time like people thought I can come in this village and give a new positive wave as a foreigner. So people of this village really welcome us warmly. I didn't feel anything bad, like of course communication was very hard because after it was only after 2 years in Japan for me. My Japanese was not really good still, and there is a special dialect of this village. Maybe Sebastian, you went there, you could hear like people talking. It's a little bit different than normal Japanese, and even some Japanese they don't understand sometimes what they're saying. So it was really complicated at the first 3 years, but after I begin to understand like what they're saying, and step by step I got more and more responsibilities in this village life. Because maybe, as you know, like when you live in this kind of village in Japan, you have to do some what we say the village work. Like, for example, one time a month, you have to clean the river of the village. Like all the village people of the village gather, and you have to clean. And if you don't come, like it's can be okay, but you have to come sometime at least, or you will be out of this village. And sometime like a few times a year, like we have to climb the mountain and to find a really small shrine in the mountain and to give him sake to this small shrine and to pray and okay, we have to do this and it is all a rotation system and we have to take some time for the village all through the year. And it's a lot actually. It takes lots of time and you have to accept it and it's mostly the Sunday or Saturday. So, yeah, if you want to move in this kind of area, you have to understand it will be like this and accept it. And from this year, I became, like we say in Japan, fukusodai of this village. Fukusodai is like, sodai is the top of the village, and fukusodai is under the top of the village. So, vice director of the village, I don't know how we can say it right, in English, but so even I'm French and not Japanese, I got quite high in the sense of responsibilities of the village. So I think in terms of integration, like it's going pretty well. And the fact I'm brewing local sake is really well appreciated by the village people of this village also. And,
How close is your house to the brewery? Is it a walk? Is it a drive?
it is how much far it is from this village? Around 30 minutes
By car, obviously.
by car. Yeah,
Yeah, I see.
but I'm living in Yaizu, but the brewery is in Fujieda City. It is
Fujieda.
well, the both cities are sticking together. Yeah. Fujieda is famous for Shidaizumi Hatsukame brewery, for example. Yaizu is famous for Isojiman. And but when I start sake brewing, it takes 30 minutes to go there. But I was sleeping in a sake brewery, so the first year I was why I say the first year because it changed after. But the first year I was going there on Sunday evening and coming back on Saturday evening to my home. And only one day of holiday of rest, and after I was going back to sake brewery. And that time I had 3 kids, so you can imagine for my wife, like,
Wow.
and for me, of course, like, yeah.
Right. How old are your kids now?
No, they are like 5, 6, and 9.
5, 6, and 9. Wow, it's a great
It's
age.
a great age, but
I'm sure you want to be there for them.
lots of work also.
Yeah, I'm sure. So now you commute, basically. You don't stay overnight in the brewery. You commute. except maybe once in a
Yes,
while.
yeah, that's right. Like few things happen. Like when I start working in Shida Izumi Brewery, like I don't know, 4 or 5 years ago, first year. It was during the the pandemic, and how
Hmm.
to say, like I had time to do this, like because my main business, tourism, didn't was already dead. Like no tourists came to Japan, nothing to do. So I had lots of time to go to Shida Izumi Brewery, and I could stay and work a lot there. But just after like the pandemic stopped and the tourism restart really fast, and just like it was before the pandemic, and I had less time to work for the brewery because I have to focus on my main activity. And now, and I'm going to Shides Brewery Friday evening every week during the brewing season, and I'm leaving on Sunday evening. So basically, 2 days and a half a week. I
I,
didn't want to lose like
I
this
see.
connection with the sake universe, like even if my main activity is giving enough income, and yeah, I wanted to brew sake still. I didn't want to stop.
So tell us about sake a little. I mean, because if we take a step back, I think, as you said earlier, you didn't have any interest or particular connection to sake. So how did it come? Did you have any
Yes,
particular epiphany moment? Why did you end up brewing sake?
yes, that's a really interesting question. I am born in Bourgogne, and have a love for wine also. And I remember when I fell in love with wine. I was drinking a pomar, like a red wine bottle with like a gigot d'agneau. I don't know how it's in English, but it is a sheep like meat. And I still remember this time. But with sake, I didn't have this epiphany, like you say. How it started, like I moved to Shizuoka, and I didn't have any interest about sake. I even didn't know about sake so much. And when I start searching information about Shizuoka, I found a blog on internet. It was one French guy living in Shizuoka from Bourgogne, just like me, since 40 years. His name is Robert Gilles. Like you know him, Sebastian, you already met him, right?
Yes, sure.
I know him as well.
Great person.
You know, right? So he became kind of my mentor, like a training, like about sake. He introduced me sake. He talked to me about sake nihonshu and how it is, and he told me it is a very interesting drink, and I should have more interest in it. And yeah, it's how it started, and I start drinking nihonshu, and I found out like it is really interesting. Even it takes some time to understand like the variation of taste, and for beginner I was really beginner, so and at that time I was drinking only local sake. I thought there's too much sakagola, and I should start only with Shizuoka sake at beginning because there's too many sake brewery. I don't understand anything. There is a few southern brewery. I don't know like how to start, and I just was just drinking local sake, and Shida Izumi and Mahatsukame, for example, for the most famous one in this area. And step by step, I got more and more interest in sake, and I start to like it. And what I found really interesting sake, me, I like drinking every day. It is beer, wine, chuhai, shochu, and my greatest happiness is having something to pair with food, right? Like there is no more bigger happiness for me than this. And I found out sake like make a good like pairing when wine is failing. Like you cannot have wine with this food. Like sake will you can have some sake to pair with it every time. So basically, if you start liking sake, you can be happy every day. It was what I thought. Like you have wine, you have nihonshu, so you can have any drink every day, and you can be happy every day. I thought it was really fantastic, and that's how I become to love sake more and more. Like uh, it was really really interesting. I didn't know there was some drink like nihonshu. I didn't know it was so deep, and particularly for me who like drinking while eating. I don't drink so much alcohol when I don't eat. So it is my way of drinking, I guess I can say like this. And how I start brewing sake, like because you asked me, it is a really interesting story. during the pandemic of beginning of the Corona COVID pandemic, I went with my wife and my kids to Yamame-Daila, Yamame-Daila is in Fujeda. It is a fishing pond, so you pay some money and you can fish with your kids, right? So nothing related to the Nihonshu. There is no connection at all. And on the way back, there is Shida Izumi Brewery, and we just wanted to buy some sake on the way back to home. And I was driving, and my wife, she checked the homepage of Shida Izumi Brewery, and she saw some announce, and she said like, "We are looking for kurabito."
Hmm.
And I said like, yeah, like let's do it. And my wife say, yeah, should be fun to do this. And I say, wait, but maybe we can try, no? Because there's nothing else to do. And she said, yes, why not making phone call? And I came back home and I called Shida Izumi Brewery. And I already knew about the director of Shida Izumi Brewery. And I call him and I say, I have really weird asking, but I don't have any experience. I don't know so much about Nihonshu, but I saw you announce about Kurabito, and will you try me as Kurabito? And he said, I don't know. I will ask my Toji, and we have to talk about it. And he called me later, and I got one job interview with Toji and the director of Mr. Mochizuki. Mr. Mochizuki, which is the director of Shida Izumi Brewery, and Mr. Nishihara, which is the Toji of Shida Izumi Brewery. And we just talk, and that it was a kind of job interview, but really more relaxed. And I don't need any suits or anything, so I hate having suits, so good for me. And what was fun that time is my Toji Nishihara-san. He asked me like, "Oh, Jacky, you are from France, and you like wine, right? Right? And so you don't drink so much Nihonshu." And I said like, I live in Japan, and I'm starting to drink lots of Nihonshu, and I give up wine a little bit. But that was not actually so much true. I was still drinking wine, but I thought I have to show interest for Nihonshu. Like I wanted to show I have interest, which was right. But it turns out my this Nishihara-san Toji, he is a really really big fan of wine. So I should have said like I'm drinking lots of wine actually, and he loves Bourgogne wine also, especially. And so yeah, but turns out like they accept to try me as a kurabito for the no experience kurabito. So I start the same year on October. The first 2 weeks I was going back home, and for the third week I think of sake brewing, I start staying at Shida Izumi Brewery, and from morning to evening every day. And that's how it started. And in Shida Izumi Brewery, like every week we drink wine, which is pretty different from lots of other brewery. Like yeah, and other kurabito have lots of interest in wine and red wine, and we are trying lots of different wine, but also Nihonshu, of course. But I think yeah, lots of people have really big interest in wine in Shida Izumi Brewery.
Do you think that Nishihara-san wants to teach you and other Kurabitos something while he proposes you or he imposes you to drink wine? Or is it just because he just loves it?
He just loves it, and he's making like you know, like this year, for example, we made like the sake for the competition, like internet, like national competition of sake. And I just after pressing the sake, I drank it, and I told him like it was really similar to some white wine. And he said like, if you tell me, he told me, if you tell me, it is my greatest happiness because I want to make this kind of sake.
Interesting.
And Nishihara-san, he has a really like he's really a gourmet, and he has lots of knowledge about food and wine, and he can talk hours about wine and food and sake, of course. Like Sebastian, you met him, you could see how much he can talk about Nihonshu and very deeply, and it is really a fantastic Toji, in my opinion.
Yeah, and he's a great character, that's true.
How old is he?
He's
About?
from Osaka.
He's from Osaka.
Yeah, from Osaka, yeah. And
And
he's around 50 years old.
50, so he's pretty young then still. That's cool.
Yeah, he's pretty young, and he's been working Shida Izumi since 2009, I think, if I recall correctly. But not sure, but more than 10 years, definitely.
That's
Uh,
cool.
he's
That's
from
cool.
Osaka, so he's using Osaka dialect when we talk. So it took time for me to get used to this Osaka dialect. But I become to have a pretty good understanding of Osaka dialect now.
That's cool. How
Yeah, I
many?
So
remember.
yeah, it's how I become. Yeah, please.
No, I was just going to say, well, I've been to the brewery, but it was a long time ago. I'm wondering
Really?
if we almost missed each other just slightly because I visited. I think it would have been 2015. Is that before you entered the brewery or after?
Yeah, it was way before I came here. I came like
Ah, okay.
yeah, 4 or 5 years ago. I don't know, 4 or 5 years ago. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I remember. I always remember this brewery very well because it has a cool story about its facade. There's a massive stone in front of the brewery,
Ah,
and I think it's memorable for that reason. And also, it's kind of it has a unique facade. I think it's surrounded by the countryside, isn't it? It's in the middle of the countryside. It's surrounded by beautiful scenery.
yes, that's right. Like there is a wide array of sakura
Yeah,
front of the brewery, which is blooming soon. This month it will bloom, and the river, like from
yeah.
this river, we are taking the water, and yeah, it is really in the countryside. Yeah.
And that river has been a
Uh,
problem in the past, hasn't it? Like it's created a lot of floods, and that's where the stone comes in, isn't it?
yeah, you have a very good memory of this. Yeah, it is right.
Yeah.
And
But I
still,
did
since that time, the stone.
I
Yes.
did meet the Toji. I remember very well his personality, and I can understand.
Mm,
I think why you guys get on, and why perhaps because I think normally in sake breweries it would be difficult for uh, not
mm.
only Japanese but non-Japanese to sort of enter a brewery, and Toji can be quite difficult people to
Yes.
deal with at first. You have to understand their way of working and what their expectations. And so my next question to you is sort of what were the challenges when you first started brewing at Shidaizumi? Did you have
No.
any communication difficulties? How did you communicate with each other? And what did the sort of the Toji expect of you? Did you ever have a conversation where he said like, "So I want you to do this. I want you to work in this way," or was it just sort of a kind of a natural, organic sort of working
Yes.
style?
Yeah, I understand what you mean. Yeah, like that time when I start brewing sake, my communication skill in Japanese was okay. Like I think I have a good command of Japanese. Like so that part it was okay. Osaka dialect for when we work it's okay because there is not so much influence. Like like it just like work. The vocabulary we use it's about work. So it's I know this vocabulary. It's okay. And I had to learn, of course, all the Nihonshu making words like hangiri, which is like the I don't know how to say with kind of bucket, a really big
The
bucket,
tub, yeah, the half
the
like
tub,
size
right, the
tub.
tub, and soe, naka, tome, which is well, like the basic
The different editions of the Moromi.
right, yes, and all this kind of small word like what is the yabuta? I already know what is the yabuta, the press, but all these small words I had to understand step by step. But I start sake brewing in October, so it was not so hard because step by step we are setting the rice washing machine, and I had time to learn slowly before we really start brewing during the setup of the brewery, like the setting up the machine. So yeah, it was okay to learn this word step by step. Um, the most challenging things, like you said, first one, it is really obvious from, but it is the working time. Like the first year, it changed from now. We are working a little bit more late, but from 3 o'clock 30 morning, we start working until 5 o'clock afternoon every day. So basically, the working time is from 4 o'clock in the morning. But in Japan, 4 o'clock, which means you have to come 10 minutes before, like at least 10 minutes before, and you have to be wake up really more before around 3 o'clock, right? And we had to end at 5 o'clock every day. So yeah, the most complicated part it was this one, maybe from the beginning, but The physical work also, like there is some machine, of course, but lots of physical work. We have to walk every day and carry heavy things, and that part, I should say it's more about mental than muscle. Like when you do this 1 week, 2 weeks in a row, your body gets used to this anyway. But waking up, when you don't want to waking up, it's hard. You want to enjoy your bed, and it's cold outside, and actually it was pretty cold there also, and putting the hands in cold water, and you know this is waiting for you, right? When you wake up, and you don't want to wake up, but you have to do it. And maybe this part was a little bit hard, I guess. And the second part, the most obvious one, is like not seeing my family. Like three young daughter, like I want to meet them, of course. And around like December, like there was still 4 months of brewing left, and I thought like sometimes I was thinking like still 4 months I will do this, and I was like this still 4 months to do this hard work every day, not seeing my family, and but it lasts only like 1 week, 2 weeks after I got motivation back, and after I stopped thinking about this, and I just focus on sake brewing. Um, yeah, that was the most challenging part, I think, and of course, all learning from zero, from nothing. I was working as motoya, so taking care of the mash, and I had to learn from everything. But like I said, my Toji is really good for teaching, and the most fun moments of this sake brewing was evening at the dinner, and we talk about sake, and he's teaching everything. He doesn't have any secret about sake brewing. We ask, he answer, and he doesn't hide anything. And so I could ask him anything I want to learn, and
That's
he always
good.
have answer, and good answer, really good answer. And
Because many toji don't like their style of a lot of toji. They don't tell you anything. They in Japanese they sort of say like geio nusumu to steal the craft from them.
yes,
Maybe because he's still quite young.
mm.
But that's really nice to hear that you've got a toji that is very willing to share their knowledge with you.
Yeah, to be honest, like my Toji, like he thought I will give up. Actually, he told me after, like he thought I will give up. So that's why maybe he didn't give me any information, right?
What's your favorite part of the brewing process? Well, you were in charge of the mash and the moto, right? Did you ever get to try your hand at the koji or any of the other stages?
uh, I used to go in the koji room, like after the steaming of the sake, we bring the like you said, the rice in the koji mulo, and on the morning, like I was going sometimes. So I used to work in the mulo, but not for a long time. Like it was only maximum 30 or 40 minutes. Yeah, but I was managing the moto, not the mulo, but I used to go. The koji is maybe this part is the next one I want to learn. It's about koji. I think it is a missing part in my training. I feel now, which is a really important part, of course. But yeah, you asked me about the most like funny part, like great moments, like you said. When you work in sake brewing all through the day, I cannot say if there is any great moments, right? When you finish the day, you can feel proud of what you did and the hard work you did. But when you work the day, you just do task, like you are like you are washing rice, and you are doing the kojimuro, you are taking temperature, and when you work, you don't think so much about the funny part of sake brewing. At the end of the day, you think what work you did, and you can be proud of it. And the funny part, interesting part, for me, it's coming after the brewing season. Like finally, we did it. We made this year Nihonshu, and it's finished. And uh, I think the great moment is there when you finish one season, because when you work so much hard every day, from morning early to evening, and evening you eat your dinner, and after you just sleep. You don't have so much time, yeah, to get satisfied so much. Like it's really short. And the dinner, like with our Toji, and talking about Nihonshu, it is of course the most interesting moment in one day, learning about sake, and the end of season.
Mm.
And of course, when we are making the sake for Nihonshu for the competition, and which means it is the hardest time. We have to take lots of care about hygiene and the sake bags also, and it is new because when we brew sake earlier, we use the yabuta, but for the competition we use this hanging bag to filter the sake, and it's all new. And if these sake bags are getting dirty at any time or in contact with air, it is really a big problem. And that part I felt lots of stress for this because I didn't know how to manage this. I didn't learn about this, but it was really exciting. Some part. It is the summum of the 1 year of sake brewing, right? The summit, this competition.
I mean, coming back to what you said earlier, so you were receiving instruction from the Toji. Now, as you were saying, he's happy to share. He doesn't have any secret. He was happy to explain. But when he was giving instruction, was he telling you why you needed to do it that way? Or was he just do it? And if you didn't ask, you wouldn't know why you had to do it this way rather than the other way.
I would say both of it. There is lots of things to consider. The first year I came, we had a lack of personnel of Kurabito. That's why we were working really hard also because we didn't have so much stuff to work, right? So we are basically focused on work, and when it's really busy, the Toji didn't have time to explain why I have to do this. Just do the work and do it correctly. And after, if he has some time, during the break time, he can explain or talk explain why I had to do this and how I had to do this. And when he has time, he can explain. But when we work, and we don't have time to talk about this. And some other part is he was not explaining everything because some part, I was Motoya, like I said, he wants me to understand myself why I'm doing this. Right? It is it is a responsibility work. You have to understand why you do something yourself. He cannot explain everything. Sometimes he just told me just do it and see. And I just tried to do it, and I saw and I understood by myself. It took time for me to start to understand. He expect me to do things myself, and I think it was around December of the first year or January. He said, "Oh, Jacky, you understood your work." He told me. So that time I thought finally I understood what I have to do.
That's cool.
And I mean, that job is not only very hard, but it can be pretty dangerous as well. And one thing that I noted as I visited the brewery, and it's not Shinaizumi only, of course, but the stairs are really steep. So not only you've got to carry heavy loads, but you have to be truly concentrated and focused because you would fall and hurt yourself very easily. I think you're going to confirm that. And the other thing I wanted to mention is that incidents that you had in the fermentation room.
Yes, physically, like you said, it was very hard. I think the first year I did sake brewing, I lost around 50 kilo, 15, 15 not 50, 15, around 15, yes, in 6 months, of course, because all day we are moving, and you talk about the stairs, actually, sake brewing asks you to, like you said, get focus on everything. You have to be focused all day. Yeah, so climbing these stairs was never a problem actually for me and for anyone, but somehow. But when some people are visiting the brewery, they say "What is these stairs? You carry heavy bag on these stairs and you don't fall." But we don't fall. we just don't fall because we are focused. Sometimes I thought it's dangerous. I will fall maybe, but it didn't happen actually. Yeah, and we didn't get hurt because I think we focus. Yeah. It's all day focus. When we clean something, it has to stay clean, right? It is the basics of sake brewing. It has to be clean everywhere. And when we drop something on the floor, we just clean it. It is the basic rule of sake brewing. Don't put dirty things anywhere. And this part, like when you are retired, maybe you will think like, oh, I just dropped this tool, and it's okay. It felt only 1 second, and it's okay. We will put there for later, and we will not wash it. Maybe you will think about this, but you don't do it because our Toji is giving us really deeply this sense of responsibilities. Like I think he said, like if you mistake, I don't forget you because you mistake and you don't clean. I I cannot forgive you because from now I cannot trust you anymore. And so if you don't clean one tool, and he sees that, he will never trust you anymore, which is obvious. Like if when he's not watching you, you don't clean things. Like how can he trust you anymore, right? So that cleaning part, like it is really important also, I think. But in any brewery, it is same, I think.
Yeah, a lot of people don't realize how much sake brewing is cleaning.
Yes, yes, yes. It is more than clear.
Mostly
Yes.
cleaning, huh? How many tanks a year do you guys make?
How many liters?
And how many tanks? How many shikomi?
Tanks. How many tanks? Tanks. I don't know, but we make few years ago we made like 133,000 liter of sake.
I need koku. How many koku do you make?
You work in Koku. You need to do the other.
So
You
how
need to do
many
the reverse
koku?
calculation.
Is it 600 or 700? Like I don't know. Like koku
It's about 800
800
koku.
koku. That was fast.
800. Okay, so around this.
All right, that's cool.
I say 6, 700, 800.
100.
Yeah, which is not so big, but not so
No,
small.
no, it's
You
stable.
have better knowledge than me, of course. So
Yes.
Yeah, it's stable. I think that's
Yeah.
cool.
and we sell everything every year, I think. So
No, that's cool.
the sake of Shizumi is pretty popular for like local people.
How many kurabito are making all that stuff? With the toji included.
So it is changing every year. So this year, like each Nissan, we have 4 kurabito, the toji, and the part-time helping us.
I see.
So part-time will be 3 or 4 people, or like when there is when we press the sake, we ask more people to come, for example. So
Just local people? Seriously.
yes.
Wow, pretty cool.
Local, so the part-time people are local people, but the kurabito, there is me, French and from Yaizu, and this year 2 kurabito are coming from Osaka also.
Wow.
So Osaka team.
By the invitation of the toji?
Yes, he researched like people usually do, and
That's cool. So when they're talking Osaka Ben, it gets even harder. Between the three of them.
yes, I got used to this. And like I said, we are drinking wine, not sake.
Oh, well, that makes it
No, I joke.
kind of evens the playing field, doesn't it?
Yes, it is a blind thing. No, but I'm joking about wine. We drink more sake than wine, but I like to say we drink wine in the brewery, and yeah, I think the wine has a good influence, like a deep influence of my Toji brewing. He like wine, and he want to make sake like wine. Yeah.
What is your go-to Shizuoka dish, local dish, and sake, if you have?
You mean like what I choose like for local dish with sake? What I like to have?
Exactly.
Like Shizuoka and especially Yaizu is famous for fish, especially tuna, bonito. It is like one of the main port when the bonito and tuna is coming in Japan, right? So you can get tuna for really cheap anytime in Yaizu, for example, where I live. So when I drink sake, I like to choose tuna, of course, and to have sashimi for cheap. But in Shizuoka, there is a very wide gastronomy, and we have mountain, we have sea, we have good countryside. In Shizuoka, it is almost not snowing in winter. So for vegetables and for even sansai and like wild vegetables, there is anything in Shizuoka. And it is famous for oden and for meat also. We have a really I like to say we have everything in Shizuoka, like every kind of food. And maybe Sebastian, you went there also. Maybe you have some good memory of a local dish in Shizuoka. I don't know, but yeah, it is a very rich area for food.
And I think quite important, like wine doesn't traditionally pair very well with like sashimi, right? It's not a great
Yes,
match with sashimi. It brings out the fishiness, and sake doesn't do that. So
I like to drink like or Junmai Ginjo of made from Homare Fuji, like in Shizuoka, and with Shizuoka fish, it's pairing really well. And I always have a bottle of Junmai Ginjo in my home.
Another specialty is himono, isn't it? Like the dried fish, fish drying in the wind, which has a pretty strong taste, or I should say, pretty strong smell, because you put it on a grill, on a barbecue, and whoa, suddenly you have this
Yes,
fishy smell coming out, and that's another one which is hard to pair with Burgundy, I think.
yes, himono is of course we find lots of himono in Yazu. It is more, I think, a specialty of Atami, which is a little bit far from, not so far from Yazu, but of course in Yazu we have lots of himono and everywhere. And
But it's still part of
yeah.
Shizuoka. I mean, it's part of the
Mm.
Shizuoka culture.
Oh yeah, it is a really important part of Shizuoka. Yeah.
And on that topic, I mean, I'm happy that you give me a chance to broaden the topic a little bit, because you're in tourism, so you're involved in promoting, you're involved in finding guides in Tokyo or elsewhere, but you've been pretty active promoting Shizuoka as a destination for visitors. I mean, almost most visitors I mean, almost all visitors will go through Shizuoka between Tokyo and Kyoto. But very few will stop in Shizuoka. And you've been trying to change that a little, and tell us about why they should stay in Shizuoka and where you would take them. You don't have to give names, but what is the attraction of the region?
From my point of view, in Shizuoka, the most famous like food, I don't know if you consider as food, is the Japanese tea, right? So for tourists who want to have experience about Japanese tea, like of course they should visit some tea factory and have a local contact with tea farmer. It is basically what I'm showing to travel agency. It is tea activities with tea farmer, which means it is important to understand like when I'm doing this activity, I'm always working as translator. Like it should be an exchange between the farmer and the customer and the people. It is not about my knowledge, but what I'm promoting it is the interaction between the tourist and the farmer, the local people. And the tea factories are a really important part to see in Shizuoka, and all the tea products like tea ice cream, tea soft cream, tea drink, gyokuro, which is there is a gyokuro like a gyokuro tea which is the finest tea of Japan, and the gyokuro in Shizuoka is disappearing from now. There is only 8 families making gyokuro. 50 years ago, there was 100 families making gyokuro. And I'm working with a farmer, like a farmer. He's the second youngest farmer of gyokuro of Fujeda. He's 73 years old. So you can imagine what it will
Wow.
become. And recently, like, of course, I'm working in tourism, but I want to help Shizuoka also not to lose this its culture. So I'm promoting the gyokuro as much as I can. I'm taking some tourists there, and we are making some activities, and the farmer can get some money with this, of course, which is like a virtuous circle, like we say, like a. And Shizuoka is famous for its wasabi also, of course. So I'm taking customer in the mountainside and meeting the farmer, and we discover about wasabi field, and we are making wasabi, like this, and scratching wasabi and on the spot. So we take wasabi from the ground and we taste the wasabi there. Also, I have lots of experience, like Sebastian, you saw, like I'm showing my village in of Yaizu. Lots of customers, tourists, they go to Kyoto, they go to everywhere, but most of these places are crowded with tourists, other tourists. And what I want to show them, it is a non-touristic place, but with still interesting, with no other tourist. So when you go to my village, like you went, Sebastian, like there is no other tourist, right? At least like I see foreigner like 3 times a year there.
Yeah.
One of my activities also is I'm making like a Shizuoka brewery tour by myself. Like as a Kurabito point of view sake brewery tour. Like what is the everyday life of a Kurabito, and I'm trying to give some insider fact as Kurabito,
That's cool.
and some knowledge, like
That's pretty cool.
like maybe it is one other topic, but I am not so good about sake knowledge for like drinking. Like I already told Sebastian before, like I'm making nihonshu, but I don't have a deep knowledge about all other brewery, and for tasting, I think I am good, but I am not. Even I am making sake, I am not like an expert of tasting. I have to be like honest about this. Like I still know I have some limit when it comes to tasting of sake. And I know really well the sake of Shizuoka and the local sake, but if you ask me like to taste one nihonshu, and what is special about this Hiroshima nihonshu, and you know, it will be hard for me to answer like something like interesting. I guess I want to train more, but I don't have so much time, and I sometimes I just want to be home and drink Shidaizumi sake as dinner, and that's all. Uh, it takes lots of effort to taste a lot.
But what about other breweries? Tell us about other. I mean, if you're interested in sake and you're going to Shizuoka, are there places you should go to? Places you can visit, places that are accessible? Any recommendation?
Yes, like of course, like one famous sake from Shizuoka. There is Isojiman, which is maybe the most famous sake of Shizuoka because it was served at the G7 summit in I think it was Okinawa and in Hokkaido. There was this Isojiman like sake was served at this summit, and that's why it became not only because of this, because it's become famous, right? Uh, Also, they are making le Isojiman, which is like a 100,000 yen bottle of sake, which is really expensive. They're famous for this. And, of course, they are making really high quality sake. There is no doubt for this. But yeah, they become famous because lots of events also, I think. Hatsukame is really one other Fujieda brewery, is one other really famous brewery. I don't think it's open for visit, but if you ask, I think maybe they will do something. You have to ask directly to visit them. There is no homepage where you can book, the sake brewery tour. If I have to talk about one more open sake brewery, it is Fujita Kasago, like around Fuji, and Fujita Sake Brewery, which is really used to sake brewery tour. They can accept some groups, and from big groups to small groups. And this sake brewery is really used to sake brewery tour. And what is interesting, they have lots of products, shochu, and they have shochu, they have nihonshu, and they are making lots of different products, and it's pretty interesting for if there is some tourists who doesn't like so much nihonshu but want to try some other alcohol. Like Fujita Takasago has a very wide variety of product, I think, and really easy to manage tour there. Yeah. And for Isojima, I don't think they are accepting Sakeburi tour. I think it's closed. Yeah.
It's tough, isn't it? It's one of the toughest.
I did get in there several years ago, but it was through it was through a local connection. I went once with Matsuzaki Sensei too. But in any event, yeah, they're pretty well known for not being open to that kind of thing.
I did a tour of that area. So I Fujieda
Yes,
and
yes.
Yuki or Yui as well, which is quite close, right?
So you are right. Like Yui, there is Kanzawa Gawa,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
Yeah, Shosetsu. That's the one I was
That's a
trying to
good
think.
brewery. I've been there. I like that
Shosetsu
place.
is on like the winding road, like down to the port, isn't it? It's like a lovely winding road, and the scenery is really.
It is. It's a long
It is.
walk from
Yeah.
the station. Is it
Yeah.
Yui Station? But it's one straight shot,
Yes.
as I
The
recall.
president actually came and picked us up in his car and took us there.
yeah, that's right. Shosetsu is in Yui. Yui is really famous for the fishing of the sakuraebi, which is a shrimp shrimp, sakura shrimp, and a tiny, really tiny shrimp, and it's really famous for this. And actually, like the shrimp, like fried shrimp, kakiage, we say in Japanese, with nihonshu made a really well pairing.
It's like a deep fried mash of different things, and often it has the shrimp
That's right.
inside, and they put it on top of soba a lot, don't they? So you order soba and you get it on top of the soba.
It's fantastic.
It is great, yeah. Even as
It's fantastic, yeah.
seafood lover, I quite enjoyed that. And another one which comes to mind, I don't know if you've ever been, is Aikun, the other Aikun, not the one in Kyoto, which is quite high in the mountains, isn't it?
Yeah, Aikun, I didn't go to Aikun, but it is a pretty famous brand of Shizuoka, as well as Galyubai.
Of course, yeah.
Garyubine.
Galyubai. Which are like I think really good. Like I test Galyubai one, sparkling Nihonshu from Galyubai, who has a really good reputation also. And Galyubai is really famous also.
Yeah, they have a good sparkling sake. About your lineup at Shidaizumi, have you been able to add any of your own personal sake to the lineup? Is there a Jacky Roya sake in the lineup of Shidaizumi?
Yeah, that's a good question. No, no. There is no. No. Maybe like if I was working in Shedezumi like 6 day a week for a few years, maybe I would have enough knowledge and skill to do this, I think. But turns out, I'm going there only 2 times a week, and it's becoming hard. You have to be there all the time, or like you are kind of losing like your skill. How to say like. For example, like when you brew sake every day, you know the next day what you have to do, and you can work easily with the other kurabito, and it's all makes sense. But when you come there only 2 days a week, like you arrive on Friday evening, and the next day you don't know exactly which task there will be, right? Some part it is kind of my frustration working in sake brewery in 2 days a week. I felt I lost some skill for making sake brewing. It just as kurabito, you have to do it every day, or like 2 days a week is not enough, to be honest. Especially this year, I felt like this, like that if I want to learn more about sake, I need to work more. It is what I felt. Except like I can ask my Toji lots of things, but you have to work on the field and on the brewery to put your knowledge in practice at some point.
Still, you want to keep the connection with the brewery and continue to work there, but do you have plans in a more distant future about doing something around brewing?
Yes, yeah, long-term aspiration. Like, no, I'm really like, I have really lots of work with my family and tourism, and my time to focus for sake is becoming really and really. I don't have so much time to focus on sake brewing. It is sad to say. I want to brew more, of course, but I have some time limit, and in the future, what I'm thinking now, I just want to work in Chile's brewery and slowly learning. I am not in a hurry. Like maybe you had some people coming to this podcast before and saying like Nihonshu is my passion in life. I want to do only Nihonshu in my life, and I'm living for Nihonshu making. Me, to be honest, I am not like this. I want to make sake. I love making sake, but it is not driving my life. Like I like it. I really like it. But in my life, I have lots of different things to do: tourism, family, and promoting Shizuoka. Like sometimes I'm making some companies they come in Shizuoka, French company in Shizuoka to buy some green tea, and sometimes I'm working as like with them to promote the tea of Shizuoka to sell also, kind of consulting activity I can say. And I'm doing lots of different things, and I'm not sure I have space like to become Toji, for example. If it is maybe your question, like or become Kuramoto, I don't have so much space to do this. I feel, but I just want to continue slowly to learn about Nihonshu. And like I always say, like I came in Japan and I was working in the library field, and now I'm brewing sake and tourism. So I am always doing really weird things. So maybe one day I will decide and I say, okay, I do this. I want to do this, and I will do it. It just I have this switch. It is my character. I think I have one switch, and it's same when I decided to work in Shidaizumi. I said I will do it, and I did it. So maybe one day I will think, okay, it's time to speed up and make my own brewing, or who knows? I don't know. Even me, I don't know.
For those who are interested in tasting some of the sake that you brewed or that you helped brewing,
Yeah.
is Shidaizumi readily available in other countries? I mean, how does it work? Where is Shidaizumi going?
Yeah, I think my director, Mr. Mochizuki, said Shidaizumi is 1/3 local, 1/3 like from prefecture, and 1/3 from national. Like they're cutting like the sales like this. But I think we are selling more for like local people. Anyway, because there is a shop of Shidaizumi in the brewery, so you can come there and buy. And when it comes for the abroad sales, we are sending some sake in America. Some sake will go to Hong Kong also, and I think maybe Taiwan, but I'm not sure. I don't want to say any mistaken information, but Hong Kong, yes. But it's not a big volume. It is not so important volume, and
Yeah, but if you look for it, you can
if
find
you
it.
look for it, you can find it in Tokyo. There is some shop selling it in Tokyo. Like I put some name in memo, like Shiki Takisuji, I wrote in Tokyo. Look like they have this sake, and in Osaka, Tagarashi Shuten.
Tagarashi Shuten, okay.
And
Jacky, I think it's going to be time to wrap up, unless,
No,
of
I'm
course,
good.
you have questions,
It was
John.
very interesting. I enjoyed listening to you very much, Jacky. I would love to visit you down there sometime.
anytime. Yeah, I've wrote some things. I don't know. I just wrote what I wanted to say. Like maybe I can talk about it.
Please.
The first time I had this job interview with my Toji, he told me like, Jacky, like when you see sake brewing on a documentary on TV, like you have the image of the like craftsmanship, checking the steam and the rice and like poetic image. And he told me, but most of time it is sagyo. Sagyo is like kind of physical work, and it is a thing not to forget. Like if people want to start like sake brewing, never forget like don't have a poetic image of sake brewing, because you will work there, and it is all about work and working. Especially also with Japanese, we are really like attentive to the details. Like you have to be focused all day. Like I still remember when my Toji told me about this. It is most about physical work.
Yeah. Constantly moving. I'm sure it's exhausting.
Yeah. Really small, short things for people who want to drink sake in Shizuoka, for example. There is some a few places like we can drink sake. One of the most famous one is Saketoba in Shizuoka, where lots of people are gathering. Shizuoka City. For like there is also like Nagata Saketen, who is pretty famous in Shizuoka City. And one other funny part is in Shizuoka City there is Aoba Oden Yokocho. So one street with lots of who was famous for oden, and you can go there and eat lots of oden, and while drinking sake. If people want to walk in Shizuoka, they go to this Oden street and having some sake, and it is a pretty fun way to enjoy local Shizuoka sake.
Is that close to Shizuoka Station?
Not so far, by walking distance.
From Shizuoka Station.
Yeah,
Cool.
yeah, from Shizuoka Station. And also like Tera in Fujieda is also one good place to drink
What's it called?
sake. Tera.
Tera.
Tera. Tera.
Ah.
To summarize, not so many places to go to see sake brewing, but lots of great places to go to enjoy sake
Yes.
in Shizuoka with local food.
Yeah, I can't say in Shizuoka, like drinking Jimoto sake, local sake, it's really in the customs of Shizuoka people. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you very
Okay,
much.
I mean, thank you
Thank you.
Very
very
interesting
much.
to meet you. Very interesting
Yeah,
to
I
hear your
don't know
story.
more, but,
Thank you very
It's good to
much.
talk to you.
Yeah. Thank you.
We managed to do a couple of things. Hear the story of a person who ended up brewing sake. Uh, was it fate? Was it a series of coincidences? But clearly, you were not thinking about sake when you moved to Shizuoka. And we heard a lot about Shizuoka as a destination as well. And it's very interesting that on this particular program, we managed to speak about Shizuoka for more than an hour and only mention Fuji once.
That's a miracle. You're right. Very nice. Fuji.
Because for most, yeah, because for most people, Shizuoka is Mount Fuji and access to Mount Fuji. But no, I mean, Shizuoka, oh yes, Shizuoka is an access to Mount Fuji, but there is much more in the gastronomy of Shizuoka that makes it an attractive destination. So John, Jacky, and Chris, thank you very much for
Thank you
taking
very
part.
much. Thanks for putting this together,
in this
Sebastian.
episode. And that will do it for this episode of Sake on Air. Please take a moment to review and rate us on Apple Podcast or whatever platform you use. And feel free to send all your questions and comments to questions@sakeonair.com or @sakeonair on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. You may find us on YouTube as well. Jacky, one last thing to ask you. If people want to contact you, I mean, how do they do that?
They can contact me by, let's say, Facebook.
Okay.
With my name and surname, like they can find me. And I have the logo of my company, and I will not mention it here, but it is about Japan, so they will find me easily on Facebook. I think it is
I'll
the
look you
most way. Yeah.
So we'll be back with more Sake on Air in a couple of days or weeks. This will be it for today. Kampai.
Kampai. Everyone be well. Thanks.
Thanks very much.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Sake on Air is made possible with the generous support of the Japan Sake and Shochu Makers Association and is broadcast from the Japan Sake and Shochu Information Center in downtown Tokyo. It is produced by Export Japan, and our team is Shuso Imada, Justin Potts, Arlene Lyons, Cindy Bissig, Chris Hughes, Chris Pellegrini, John Dontner, Marie Nagata, Miho Ota, Rebecca Wilson-Lai, Sebastian Yuan, and me, Frank Walter. Until next time, kampai!